And hello, friends listening. This is the Lost Girls podcast. If you wandered in unawares, I'm your host, Neva,
And I'm your host, Maria.
and it has been a while since I've seen your face.
I know it's been a while. We have been busy slash sick slash celebrating,
Over celebrating.
over celebrating. Yes. So it's been a minute since
Yeah.
we've gotten a chance to record, and I'm sure we left just so many of you in the lurch uh without our weekly Sunday podcast, and we apologize deeply. Um, but
What did you do without us in your ear holes for so long?
I know. Hopefully, listen back to some of your favorites. Out of all 9 to choose from.
Hey, that is an accomplishment. I
Yes.
mean,
Hey,
that's
we
pretty
are
amazing.
we're in double digits today. This is number 10.
Woo woo.
We're two full hands.
Two full hands. Imagine streamers and balloons falling from the ceiling.
Yes, absolutely. Streamers and balloons. Which seems like a great time for us to kick off what is potentially a 2 or 3 part episode on different types and paths of witchcraft. And even I have talked about tackling this topic before, but it is hefty and dense. So
We had to be like emotionally prepared.
yeah, ready to talk about it. So I like in front of me, I have like 3 books and a couple PDFs open, and I'm sure I'll use none of them because I'll just talk, but they're there in case I need them.
It's like
So,
when you took an open book test in school and you
yes.
don't use the book anyway.
Yeah. But knowing it's there, the open book is a security blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always, for whatever it's worth, I always felt like I did worse on open book tests, but
Yeah. No, I thought I did too. That's so funny. Oh, all right.
anyway,
Okay. So,
do you want to start with like paths that you sort of resonate or follow or
yeah.
or like path, like the ones that you and I
Yeah.
sort of resonate with and
We'll go from there.
go from there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good we planned it out. Um, yeah, I think we could talk about what like our own paths, and it should be stated just as a disclaimer that what this is not like a complete list. There are so many different ways to practice witchcraft or spirituality and everything involved. We'll be talking about the ones that are most personal to us and the ones that we know about. Um, but that's no means an exhaustive list. So, you could go out
Yeah.
there and find hundreds of different ways of practicing.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you just
If you
gotta,
put if you put 100 people in a room, there's you might have 100. You'll have 100 different paths.
yeah,
I mean, ideally, I feel like it's very personal to each person.
yeah,
Can I say though, as I was just sort of, doing my googly search.
nice.
Sorry, that term came out of my mouth, and then my brain was like, "What the fuck was that?"
I like it.
Like
Tell me about your
googly.
googly. Tell me about your googly search, Neva.
Um, I think it says a lot about how many people are sort of, I don't know if waking up is the right term. That term
Mm,
but if you can think of a better way to describe it, please,
coming
let
out
me
of the
know.
broom closet.
Coming out of the broom closet, there you go.
Yeah.
Because there was like a Cosmo article, it's like,
Yes,
what kind of witch are you? And I'm like,
I
wow.
saw
Like
that. Yeah, I was like, oh damn, this is in like a major publication.
yeah. So it's not like, something, that has to be done in like secret and like except I will say that when people are like, are you a witch? Like they still say it like super like hushed and like look around like I don't want anyone to hear me.
Yeah. Hey, Hey, you over there. Are, are you a witch? Yeah, man. Like it's to the point like even my coworkers are very obvious, and because we're a bunch of fucking nerdy engineers, um my coworker who works across the hall printed me like 3D printed me a sign that said "Sup witches," and it's just like a woman flying on a broom, and I just keep it. It's like pasted on my door. It's like you know exactly what you're getting into when you walk into my classroom.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing, and I love it.
Yeah, and
Ah.
you know I had a another coworker who him and his wife recently had a baby, and he was just like, "Oh, hey, this is his birth information. You want to just like do me like a quick birth chart and tell me what's up?" And I was like, "Yeah."
I love that so
Yeah.
much.
And I was like, "Yes. This is great." I just love that it's more accepted and okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
So Neva,
Mhm.
tell us about your journey down your path of witchcraft. Like which approach, what's the biggest one that you think you identify with?
Uh, honestly, I would have to say eclectic, just because it just kind of is like, yeah, it's just like whatever
Yeah,
you want. You
I
know,
feel like
a little bit here, a little bit there. Ooh, this is interesting. Let's do that.
yes, yeah. Eclectic is the casino buffet witch path. Like it is, I want all the different things from all the different paths, and I'm gonna combine
Yep.
them however I want.
And I'm just like, so like the part of me that's like, you can't like put me in a box.
Yeah, don't put me in a box.
You're like, I want to, you know, be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's try that. Ooh, look at this over here. Ooh, I killed a plant, so probably not for me.
Maybe not a green witch.
I will say that when we first talked about doing this episode, my wife always asks like, "What's your episode about?" And so I told her, and she's like, "Well, what kind am I?" And I just kind of gestured with my arms at all the plants.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, take a guess.
Avery is a green witch for sure. And crafty.
100%.
And
And crafty.
she's a crafty
Well,
witch.
uh her mother has a shit ton of plants also. And
I
anytime
love it.
I'm like, I just like your plants. And she's like, I kill more than I keep alive. I'm like, I don't see that.
Yeah, that's not what's happening on my end. Yeah.
Like, unless you're just really good about destroying the evidence.
Right. Like unless you have like, you know, a dead plant. I was gonna say a dead plant graveyard, but I'm like, isn't that just compost? Isn't that just a compost pile?
Oh my God, I love that. This
Welcome
is
to my
my
dead plant graveyard.
AKA my compost pile.
It's my compost pile. I'm definitely forever gonna call it my dead plant graveyard from now until eternity. So,
I'm glad I could do that for you.
you did. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
I
that's
appreciate you so much. So tell us a little bit about what you're into.
Well, okay. I will start with kitchen witchery.
Mm.
Um, I love cooking for people, but it's like more than that. T to me, kitchen witchery is also like cooking with intention and like using your ingredients with intention. And so, like, even the most mundane thing, like if I'm just using like salt and pepper and garlic powder, which to me is like the minimum that that goes into anything.
It should be the absolute minimum that goes into anything. We're not white people seasoning here, guys.
That's like for me, that's about the minimum.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I sprinkle the salt in, like I'm thinking like purification, you know, and then when I put my pepper in, I'm thinking like protection. And when I put my garlic powder in, I'm thinking like health and healing and prosperity. Because I just feel like, you know, I could dress a candle with these things and light a candle, or I could just like cook it into the food I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
And then I'm also giving that to whoever I'm cooking for, because it's like, to me, cooking for the people that I love is just like it's a really personal thing, like I don't cook for you if I don't like you.
Yes. Oh my
You know?
God. Well, I will, but you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. And so yeah. And for like a year, when my wife did the majority of the cooking and then I took it back over, when I took it back over, I was like, oh my God, like I didn't realize how deep down like I missed this,
Oh, I love that.
and being able to like it, like, because like in the moment she was like, like you're working and I'm not, and I'm gonna take care of this. I'm like, okay, that's fine, like that totally logically makes sense. But then when she started working full time and I took over the majority of the cooking again, I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize like how deep of a part of me like cooking for people was.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, like this is really like real.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I also deeply feel connected to kitchen witchery. Um, but I think it had more to do with like it's centered around like my family, like hereditary witchcraft almost. Um,
Yeah,
but
you are Italian, and
I
Italian is all about the food.
we are, yeah, we're all about the food. And it's not even just the food, it's like the ingredients and where they come from and were they ethically sourced and were those animals treated properly? And even like everyone's just like, oh God, they get like a little weirded out. And I'm like, oh, I used to go hunting with my dad. And I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't sport hunting. We only hunted the food we ate. And it was like an incredibly respectful relationship with nature. Like
Yeah. Yep.
anytime we killed an animal, my dad was like, you thank the animal. Um,
Yep.
you know, and you leave, you field dress so that other animals in the forest can eat what we can't.
Mm-hmm.
And you use every part you possibly can.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and he was adamant about that. And he was like, "That's hella witchy, Dad." Like he didn't realize it, but
Yeah.
hella witchy.
Yeah.
Um, and with my nonna, it was very much like make sure you know where your ingredients are coming from. Where were those vegetables grown? And to be fair, they were farmers, and so in Italy. So this was like extremely important to them. Um, you want your tomatoes to grow in the very best cow shit, not just, you know,
Not just any cow
not
shit.
any cow shit, the good cow shit. And it was like,
The
all right,
blessed cow shit.
the blessed cow shit. Yeah. Um, and it was insane. Like they had rituals for taking care of their fields and taking care of their animals.
Mm.
And all of that led back to it's like, yes, some of it's kitchen witchery because I do love cooking for people. Um, and I love feeding people. But I think the bigger portion of it for me is like that hereditary witchcraft path where it's like it's just innately built into how I was raised, the values that were instilled there, the ones I held on to anyway, um, about respecting the path of ingredients and
Yeah.
food from
Well, and
start to finish.
I also feel like a lot of witchcraft is tuning back into those cycles of nature and of the planet and respecting everything that lives here, you
Hmm.
know. Um, I've often, I don't think I could personally ever be a vegetarian because I just, to me, I understand like, we're all in the symbiotic relationship, and like you said, thanking the deer, or I grew up on a beef farm, and
Right.
we would eat our cattle, obviously,
Mhm.
and it's yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely get
Yeah.
that. There's a circle of life approach to it that
Yeah, yep.
feels very settled for me. That I'm just like, yeah, this feels right deep down.
Yeah.
Um, and not
Yeah.
that like I begrudge people who are vegetarians or
Oh
vegan or
no, 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 no,
whatever.
no, no.
Like you
No,
can eat
no.
whatever the
Yeah.
hell you want.
Right,
Um,
exactly. No.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Um, like yeah, I can't eat beef because it'll kill me. Um,
Aw, sad
yeah,
face.
it's okay. I do miss burgers. Anyway, um, but it's fine. It's fine. It's great.
All good.
It's all good. Neva.
Well, wait, before I go again,
Oh,
you touched on Hereditary Witch. Do you
I
want to
did.
expand on that?
Oh, I can, sure.
Yeah.
So Hereditary Witch is not just watching the movie Hereditary. Haha. It's
Is
not
that a
that funny.
movie?
It's a horror movie. It's terrifying. Um,
I feel like you talk about horror movies a lot.
I shouldn't. I don't like them that much. Like,
That's at least the second or third horror movie you referenced.
I know, and I don't know why it keeps coming up on our podcast. Everyone's gonna think I'm so into horror movies, and I am so not. Like, I'm an action movie gal. Like, Die Hard and The Mummy are my favorite movies. I'm not out here trying to like live that horror movie life. My partner loves horror movies, and thus I have been made to watch many of them, and some of them are really good cinematically. And then I'm like, fuck, now I have to like talk about them when shit arises that has to do with that. Anyway,
Anyway,
I'm not mad about it. It's fine. Um,
we took a side quest.
we took such a side quest. So Hereditary Witch, right. Yeah, it's basically the idea that like your witchcraft or manifestations of your path are passed down through your lineage. A lot of it, traditionally here is seen as like Celtic witches. That tends to be like a hereditary, air quotes, path. Um, for some, it's like brujas or stregas, or, they are typically deeply ingrained in some type of culture. Voodoo or hoodoo are different hereditary types of witchcraft as well. Basically, it's a claiming of one's cultural identity and then the traditions around nature and witchcraft that come with that cultural identity. Um, this is where a lot of times like close practiced things will come in. So like, you know, burning white sage if you're not Native American. Or, in our culture, it's like learning the malocchio, which is like, dispelling of the evil eye, which is very um closed to like Italian, Greek, and Mediterranean cultures. So
I've
um
never heard of that one.
yeah, there's a whole thing. Um but it was something that was passed down to me from my nonna. And she had taught my dad, and my dad knew a good amount of it, and they both taught me. um and it wasn't presented as witchcraft per se,
Right.
because obviously, especially in Italy, it's a very Catholic society. So a
Hmm.
lot of the rituals involve, invoking the name of the Virgin Mary or Jesus, or, using olive oil and holy water. And it's like, they're just the same tools that you're calling different things. The
Yeah.
energy behind it's the same.
Do you think there's a lot of folk magic involved in hereditary magic?
Yeah, I mean, I think the overlap there is like that Venn diagram is very neatly a stack. Like a lot of folk magic is, I would say, all hereditary magic is folk magic. Maybe not all folk magic is hereditary.
Yeah.
Does that
So
make
it's kind
sense?
of like the folk magic circles like this, and then the
Yeah,
hereditary
is a
circles
little
like this.
right. Yeah. Um, yeah, because it's definitely hereditary is so specific. There's no way almost for it not to be folk
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah.
Um, which, again, is just the idea that like you're learning it from a culture. Um, but yeah, that's probably my biggest influence, and that's where pieces of like green witchery and house kitchen witch stuff all come in. But because it's so eclectic, um, yeah, I
Yeah.
identify that way mostly, and also as like, like, gee, you're just good old fashioned Italian stregonona. So, I turned 40, so entering my crone era.
Woo woo.
Woo woo.
I turned 37 in a week and a day.
Yeah, you do. So excited.
For
Also,
my
side note,
birthday
for your
or
birthday.
because okay.
Yeah, yeah. Also, Neva sent me the most amazing birthday present in the history of time. Um,
Aw.
it was really beautiful. But anyway,
I love making it for you.
yes. Okay. Um, okay. Neva,
Mm-hmm.
how do you incorporate elements of your path? I mean, other than like obviously the cooking thing.
Yeah.
Um, like into your everyday, every month, however you do it, practice.
Boo. That's a good question. So, I mean, divination,
Uh,
which
Yes.
um
Hmm.
I try like my goal is always to connect with a tarot deck every day. I almost always fall short of that goal, but it's like the goal.
Yeah.
I bet it happens 3 to 4 times a week.
Pretty good.
In a perfect world, like every day, like I sit down and meditate and I pull a card and I meditate on that card, in a perfect world, which doesn't
Right.
exist.
No. Yeah.
Um, but I would say, that's one way. Uh, so yeah, divination witches use tarot cards or scrying or any sort of divination tool like runes or bones or like I don't know how to use runes or bones. I've never tried scrying either.
Nice. Never used bones. I've used runes aplenty, but
Uh, I've watched bone readers and I'm just like, that looks really cool.
does.
And I'm like, one of these days I kind of want to learn, but I'm also like, I don't know how I would feel about just like holding a pile of bones in my hand.
Eh.
Like, there's something I'm almost like, it feels a little like I'd want to know where the bones came from. Like, are
That's
they
like,
just chicken legs or
yeah. Yeah. Or are you out there collecting roadkill and specific bones so that you could be like, I need to complete my set. I still need the left toe of possum. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I
Um,
don't know how it works
I'm
either.
very sorry if that was offensive to any bone readers. I feel bad. But also, if you have a left possum toe, get at me in the comments. Um,
This is my left possum toe.
this is my left possum toe. Um,
Love that.
well, that's like
Um,
I watched someone do like there's a tasseomancy where it's like tea
what?
leaves. It's like
Oh,
they read tea
yes.
leaves and there was a whole fucking ritual involved. And I was like, holy shit, this is
Yeah.
so much more in depth than what I had imagined it was.
Yeah.
It was fascinating. It was
There've
so
been
cool. I was like, I'm not gonna
I've
learn how to do that.
I've gone to metaphysical shows where there were tea leaf readers and I just like that looks really cool,
Yeah,
Like yeah.
yeah. So how else do you incorporate or
Um
try to?
well, shall we talk about storm witchery?
Yes. Okay. I think we need to touch on this one because this is definitely Neva's biggest superpower.
Saving the best for
Save
last.
the best for last. Neva hasn't told anyone, but she controls the weather. So if you're in the Kansas area, get at Neva. I don't know what your local news station is or what the situation is there, but they're wrong. Neva controls the weather in southern Kansas. Um, you need a snowstorm so you don't have to take a test? Call Neva.
I'm laughing, but she's not kidding.
Hey Neva, why don't you tell us about your storm witch powers?
Okay, well, like I always feel like I have to like build the evidence for this because I barely believe it. Despite like the stack of evidence I have at this point. Because
Jack.
I'm just like, how the fuck is that even possible? Like,
Amazing.
um, so what okay. So one of the questions people ask, and I think we've talked, you and I have talked about this, is like, when did you know that you were a witch? Or, whatever. Or like, how long have you been practicing? And to me, that's two different questions because the answer
Yes.
to how long have I consciously been practicing is 2 or 3 years. I don't know. I don't feel like doing the math right now. But how long have I been practicing by accident? Since I was a teenager. Um,
Accidental witchcraft.
Um, so here's the best story you will hear today.
Yes. This
Um,
week.
this week. When I was in high school, I was the nerdy kid who took all the if we had AP classes, they would have been AP classes, but it was like all the smart kid hard classes. And so, I had like 3 tests and 2 projects and all this shit due within a week. And it was like February or something. And my friend and I, who my friend was also in like all the hard smart kid classes, she was like, you know what? What I really need is just like a few snow days. I just need like a few snow days and to like get all this work done. Well, there was like the teensiest chance of snow. I mean, it was like a 40% chance of half an inch sort of thing. And so we were like, pray to the snow gods. Ha 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 ha. Ha.
Yeah. Oh
So I took that very seriously. And before I went to bed, I closed the door to my bedroom, like no one needs to see this.
my God.
And dude, the intention in my bones. Like all I can be like, I just like summoned, I don't the craziest thing, and I just kind of like moved my body intuitively and like imagined a snowstorm. Well, the result of that was no school for 5 school days. Not 5 calendar days, 5 school days. And it was good that before we left for school that day, I told my friend, I was like, take home everything. Take home every book, like everything. And she's like, what do you like? She's like, my backpack won't hold it. I'm like, when I tell you to take home everything, I mean take home everything.
Just imagining like 16-year-old Neva, 98 pounds soaking wet, summoning the fucking snow gods to her doorstep. Just, ugh. I'm so fucking into this. I love it so hard.
And at the time, I didn't think much about it. I was just like, cool, it worked. I got all my work done by the third day, and then I was like, I have to get out of this fucking house. So I convinced my dad, because he had, like 4-wheel drive, dually, flatbed farm truck, you
Mhm.
know, and I was like, please, please, can I go anywhere? Like, I will take the back dirt roads to my friend who I also told to take all of her schoolwork home. And I'm like, can I please just go visit them? Please, please, please. So what if I had taken the highway, what should have been about a 10 or 15-minute drive, I drove like 10 miles an hour on gravel roads. It took
Yeah.
me like an hour. But I just had to get out of the fucking house.
Yeah.
And she was just like, well, I got all my work done. How about you? I'm like, yeah, me too. Let's go sledding. Um, so then I did not think about that for years, years and years and years. And then I was at my first teaching job and it was February, and I'm like, God, I just need a fucking break. And there was a tiny little chance for snow. And so I was like, well, it worked once. Maybe it'll work again. And we didn't have school for 3 days.
I am like maxing out the volume because I can't stop laughing so hard.
And then
I've heard those before.
at that point, I was like, okay, this is weird. And I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm a little freaked out. And so I didn't do it again until my
Yeah.
last year of teaching, which was when I was first like, ooh, tarot. Ooh, look at this. Ooh, how about that? And then it was more of just like an experiment.
Mm. What happened, Neva?
We had to go extra snow. We had to go extra days at the end of the school year because we had too many snow days.
Henceforth, Neva shall just be known as Neva the Snow Summoner. Which I think is pretty fucking telling considering your name means snow in many different languages. I know. I know. Chills every time. Every time.
Um,
She's real life Storm.
and just to add to that,
Mm.
recently we have had just in the last like May has been nothing but thunderstorms and
Mhm.
tornadoes and all the severe, I swear this month has been like all the severe weather that we haven't had in like a decade.
Yeah.
And um the at the end of April, we were supposed to have Pittsburgh Art Walk and like I was supposed to have an art show and then like another show on like a Friday and a Saturday. And the local meteorologist, with which he is always very, very good. He was like forecasting rain and tornadoes and all these things. And I was like, but I don't want that. And there wasn't that. During the time that those events were supposed to take place, it was clear as clear as anything. It was storming in other places, but
Not where
um
you fucking were.
not where I was. And so, as I'm sitting on my porch enjoying my night off when I should have been at the art walk and it's just clear and blue sky and sunny, I was like, well, okay.
I think I can fully say Storm
Th-
Witch, check.
this feels like pretty definitive proof to me. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I haven't told you this story.
Oh my god, yes. Give it to me.
Oh,
I love
oh
it.
my God. I've been saving this. Okay.
I'm so excited right now.
So, oh, I'm like, whew, I'm all like pumped up. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Shake it out, shake it out.
Okay. So during one of these storms that we had, there was like, have you heard of like the death avocado? Where it's like when
No.
when the weather forecaster like puts up like in the green you have a small chance for tornadoes and in the yellow you have a higher chance and then if you're in like the red you're in the death avocado.
I've never heard it put that way, probably because Connecticut doesn't get a lot of tornadoes. But Death Avocado is my new favorite band name. So
I I think maybe it's not called death. It's definitely called something avocado, but my brain has turned it into death avocado.
it's fucking rad, is what it is. Yeah.
Because it tends to look like an avocado with like
Yeah.
green. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we were in the middle of this death avocado,
Mm-hmm.
and and I was like, okay, like I don't want a fucking tornado here. I don't, you know. And so I just put up a little intention and a little, and like we were fine. Then the next day, or a couple days later, I saw my friend who works at the bar She was like, Neva, you will not believe what happened to me. And I'm like, tell me. And she's like, I was in Arkansas and we are in this tiny ass little town and there was a tornado and it was headed straight for our little town. And so, like, we took shelter. And she's like, Neva, that tornado was headed straight for this town. And then it went around it. Like, there was a bubble around this town and then continued on its original path. And I'm just listening to her. And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm glad that
Also,
you were okay.
you're
And,
welcome.
and then I'm also just like, I think I did that.
Shit, I think that was me. God.
But also with
Wow.
that, I have to like, understand like I can't know everywhere that there's a storm. I can't know everywhere there's a tornado. I am not personally responsible for,
No, of course not.
keeping like I'm not personally responsible for keeping everyone safe, but I can keep myself and my loved ones safe,
Yeah.
you know. Or I can be oh, okay, man, you got me talking on this. I
I'm into it.
I was researching storm witches, and the whole reason that I was like, well, know I can make it snow. I don't know if I can make it not rain or not
Yeah.
tornado.
Right.
I've never tried that before.
Right. Can I
Um,
banish as well as summon?
exactly.
Right.
Um, and so I was like reading all these stories, and this lady was like, "Oh yeah, I was in the location of a tornado once, and I just sort of like," she's like, "I connected to the storm and to the tornado, and instead of it coming down in this, housing development, I sent it off to this like field." And I was like, "That's fucking cool." And so basically on a few of those nights where it was just like tornado, 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 I was like, okay, imagine some empty fields and send them over there.
Oh my God. I just have this like superhero image of you lassoing fucking tornadoes out in the Kansas fields, like with like lightning, like Sith lightning coming out of your fingertips. It's rad. It's rad, is what it is. And it just makes me love you so much more.
I love that image, and if anyone wants to make an art of that, then
Ooh.
I'm down.
Yeah, we're totally down for the fan art. Yeah.
So that's my story, and it's gonna go out on the internet for everyone to put in their ear holes.
Yes. And hopefully everyone takes heed if you're in Kansas.
So the moral of the story is, kids, if you want a snow day, just hit me up.
Yeah. Or, look into storm witching on your own. Who knows? Maybe you have, the gift.
Maybe you have the power,
Yeah.
which is still like wild as shit to me.
Yeah.
Like,
It's awesome. It's so awesome. Um, I have nothing that cool to follow it up with, like at all, ever. Um, I mean, nah, hmm. my skills
that,
lie my skills lie elsewhere.
yeah, I don't know where that still comes from. It's just inside of me.
It's just inside. Um, I will say one of my sounds whatever. It's whatever. One of the more powerful calls ritually that I felt are like during ceremonial and ritual witchcraft.
Mm.
Which I
Hmm.
know is like not a thing you typically do.
Right.
Um, but there's something about, and it's like on the high holidays, so like most recently Beltane. Um, they often involve elements of like being embodied by the deities of those holidays, and those have always felt particularly powerful to me. Um, and in an indescribable way that I'm not sure I could explain. Um, and even the people with which I've participated in those rituals with, despite being wildly skeptic at the beginning, afterwards were like, I don't know what just happened. And I don't have the words to describe what happened, but something fucking happened. And I was like, yeah, I know, right? They're like, no, seriously, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. We were embodied by, whatever the deities of the ritual ceremony wanted.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah. So that's like my favorite.
Love
But
that.
there are, we have lists, guys. We have lists of different paths and witchcrafts that we'll go over in part two. Um,
Yes.
but for today, shall we draw a card?
Yes, I love that.
Okay. So I have this cool deck called the Pulp Tarot. And it's like all these pinup, model-y, old school type artworks. And I really like it. There's also like a Instagram account that goes with it. That's very neat. Okay. Um, ooh, that's interesting. So I got the Reverse Emperor.
Ooh,
Yeah. Boop.
cool.
Um, yeah. So the Emperor is like, all about, it's a very like male energy, obviously. This particular booklet uh describes him. Let's see. Let's see what their thing is. Do-do-do-do-do. Yeah. He's the guy in charge. He makes the rules. He's obviously strong, not someone you want to mess with. Draped in a red cape. But because it's reversed, I always like when things are reversed, like turn them inside.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe this is a good card for this because it's like harnessing your own inner power. And like you're the one that runs things inside of you.
I love that.
Yeah. So that
I love that
feels,
for us.
I love that for us too. That feels authentic to me. Um, yeah, there we go. So, the Emperor. Um, Neva, what's bringing you joy this week?
Oh, what's bringing me joy? Okay. I think what's bringing me joy is um all of my Kickstarter backers who did not get a journal. I got their rewards mailed to this week. I'm
Nice.
still waiting on journals to be printed, so there's still like 10 people waiting on their rewards. But I mailed off 19 domestic and 3 international this week.
I'm so proud of you. That's so awesome.
So that feels pretty good.
Yeah.
And I know some of them have already been delivered. So
Wow.
they're out in the world.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Your decks they're out there.
They're out there just living their little deck life.
Just living their little deck life. I love that so much.
And I know for at least a few people it's like their first one, and that makes me very excited.
Whoa, that's crazy. I love
Yeah.
that. That's
I
so
love that too.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's bringing you joy, Maria?
Ooh. Um,
Also, seeing your face is bringing me joy.
oh my God. Seeing your face is bringing me so much joy. Ugh. Um, the impending end of the school year is
How many more weeks do you have?
I am done officially June 17th.
Oh, everyone here is already out.
Oh my God. Yeah, no. Nope, not us. Um, yep. So it's sort of bringing me joy. Yeah, I don't know. I've been oh, okay. I'm gonna take that back. Yes, the impending end of the school year. But previously, my 40th birthday party brought me a lot of
Woo
joy.
woo.
Yeah,
Happy birthday to you.
thank you. Um, it was a Die Hard themed birthday party, and there was a Nakatomi Tower Plaza cake, and it was fucking awesome.
Love that.
And I had a great time. So,
Which is why we did not record the next
which
day.
is why we did not record the next day. I may have still been starfished in the lawn. So, a good time was had by all. Um, awesome. Don't worry, my kids were sleeping at my in-laws. But yeah, so I'm grateful and those things bring me joy. and I really, really can't wait for the school year to be over. That will also bring me joy. So,
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
mhm.
Love that. Well, thank you all for listening. And I know that I got very into talking about all the storms I have manifested.
Hell yeah. Yes. Thank you everyone for listening to us. Please go and follow us on our various social media thingies. Um, even though we've been a little absent, we still love you and
Yes.
appreciate all of our listeners. And our Patreon subscribers, if you want to see how ratchet we look day to
I
day.
mean, I literally rolled out of bed 30 minutes before we got on here.
Same. Absolutely the same. Um, it's not as spicy as our Sunday night content, but you know. But
It's
thanks for
still almost
listening.
as good.
It's still almost as good. Yeah.
All right.
Uh, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.